so much for being here. Congratulations on a great opening weekend. The movie's playing in New York and LA right now. Goes wide December 9th. You should be impressed. I don't remember my mother's birthday, and I know the whole release path for film.
Those priorities are wrong.
So I'm curious, how did this script find its way to you, and what attracted you to this project? I think everyone can tell you are not American, and it's so interesting that you made such an insightful film about the American political world.
Well, I'm fascinated by the American political world, and I have been for a long time. The way the script came to me is one of those very, very rare occurrences. I mean, it's not hopefully a rare occurrence that a script comes to me, but it's rare in that it was written by a first-time writer. This is his first script, which is quite an accomplishment. And even when I first got the script, it was already, a very, very, very strong read. He doesn't even live in this country. He's also British. He doesn't live in Britain either. He lives in the Far East, as a matter of fact. And he wrote the whole film at arm's length, and then sent it out into the ether to see if anybody would respond to it. And a man who's now his manager read the log line on an email and said, "Send me the script." Said, "I like the script. I want to represent you." Don't think he was representing anybody else at that point. So he got a manager, he got representation with UTA, and they sent the script out to a few places, one of which was Film Nation, who were one of the financiers of the film. And they sent it to a couple of agents that they knew, one of whom was mine, and said, "We don't really quite know what we've got here, but we sort of sense that you might have the kind of people who'd be interested in this." And they sent that to me as a log line. I read the log line, which I just thought was fascinating, because the gun regulation issue is completely baffling to anybody outside this country, maybe a few inside the country as well, but certainly outside, people don't understand it, and I didn't, and was very interested in it. So I read it. It was just a fantastically strong read, and above all other things, despite its media, it's just a really, really good, well-told story. Mm-hmm. It had a long way to go still at that point, but it was already very promising. So, I didn't hesitate particularly to take on an American subject. I mean, it's not meant to be. It's meant to be a movie, a story, but obviously it takes on some issues which I, have wanted to investigate and wanted to explore, but it's not my job to pontificate on them.
And did this give you an opportunity to actually go to Washington, D.C. and talk to these people?
It did, yeah. I mean, you can't, even though it won't have escaped anybody's notice that it's hardly plausible in the political circumstance that existed even 6 months ago that a bill like the one that is depicted in the film would even get onto the table for consideration in Congress. Now it's downright impossible. So the film is obviously a work of fiction, even a work of fantasy, considering it actually passes at the end. We wanted, nevertheless, despite the fact that it's a work of the imagination, to make sure it was properly authenticated. And so we did. Johnny had done a lot. Johnny Pereira, the writer, had done a lot of research anyway beforehand. We then engaged a lobbying firm who, sorry, sleeping with the enemy. A very reputable company, of course, and who was sometimes involved in this business as well. And we put the script through sort of forensic interrogation with them, and discovered one major plot issue that we had wrong. So we had to go back and re-thread that. All that runs right through the movie. So.
Can you tell us what it is, or is it better to keep
Yeah,
secret?
Well, your eyes will close as soon as I tell you. I mean, because it's so incredibly abstruse. So originally, the point that they tripped her up on was that the congressional gift ban didn't apply to sovereign states. That was installed in the script at the very beginning, and we then discovered, once we put it to forensic interrogation, that the congressional gift ban does apply to sovereign states. So that became the, the 501c3, the whole non-profit, and who signs and authorizes travel things, all of which is true. This is all post-Jack Abramoff, if anybody knows who that is, who basically brought the whole issue of the whole profession of lobbying into disrepute. And definitely we owe a debt to him in this film, as you can probably imagine.